Hi, Uncle Mike.
How are you, Jeff?
We're doing great. We just want to tell my class about, we're learning about the Negro Leagues and the Civil Rights Movement. Wondering, how was it like playing baseball down south?
Well, you saw a lot of the black and white conflict.
Mm-hmm.
That was very, very strong down there. Some examples would be, first of all, the fans. The fans, the black fans, had to sit down the left field line or the right field line. They weren't allowed to come across any further closer to home plate than the beginning of the dirt on the infield. That's why you never see any blacks sitting behind home plate, behind the dugouts, or whatever. And they had to stay back there.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing, too, is as far as pulling into town and traveling on the road with the team, you would have pull into town, and they would drop. The blacks and the whites did not stay in the same hotel. They would take the blacks to another part of town, which is a bad part, and deprived area, and that's where they had to stay in that hotel. And then they'd drive us down to the center of town and stay in these nice hotels.
Mm.
All right.
How about going to restaurants?
Well, it was another situation where we stopped to get lunch, and I had three. There were four of us. Myself, I was the only white person, and there were three black people, and we went to this restaurant. And when I played, you had water, blacks only, whites only.
Mm.
Okay, there were some places they couldn't even use the bathrooms.
Now, what did they do with that
in
restaurant?
The restaurant,
Yeah.
and then at the restaurant, we went to eat. Myself and my three black friends, teammates, and the manager said, "I'm sorry, you can stay here," pointing to me, the white person, and have the and then and he said, "You can come in, but the three black guys, they can't come in."
Mm.
So I said, "Well, if you can't have the four of us, you're not going to have any of us." And I left with my friends.
Now, did you witness any of the KKK down there?
So, yeah,
A lot of my students
this
wonder
was
about
a
that.
situation. It was on a Sunday. We had played a Sunday afternoon game. And then we went to a restaurant and had dinner. And then we were walking back through town. And in the center of town came three flatbed trucks and loaded with a bunch of guys on there dressed in white sheets.
Mm-hmm.
And they were on outside of town. They were going to have their KKK meeting.
Mm.
And I'll tell you, that was a very, very scary situation because I didn't know what was going to happen.
Mm.
I just had to get to where I was staying.
Mm.
The other thing too was when in the town that I was playing in, this was down in South Carolina, I went to get a haircut. and there were lawyers and doctors sitting around, talking, and come to find out that they were all members of the KKK.
Awful.
Well, I'll tell you what, I couldn't get out of that barber shop
Yeah.
fast enough. The way that they were treated is unforgivable.
Well.
And, we should, the reason we have these major problems going on in this country right now, the civilization, I don't understand what's going on. They're just so crazed and going in the wrong direction. What they should be doing is treating each other like the way that they would like to be treated.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for teaching that to my students, Uncle Mike.
You want me to tell you about Satchel Paige?
Yeah, I think they want to hear about Satchel Paige.
Well, Satchel Paige was signed by Charlie Finley, who owned the Athletics. And at that time, when I was there, it was the Kansas City A's. And then when they went to Oakland, that's when I went to Boston with the Red Sox. But he signed Satchel Paige for a home and home with the Red Sox. He would pitch 3 innings up in Boston at Fenway Park, and then he would pitch 3 innings in Kansas City.
Now, he was really old at this time, right? And he could still pitch?
Yes, in fact, people, I think you're going to see the picture of myself and Satchel Paige, and people have seen it, and some of the young kids, probably your age, would say, "Oh, you play with Satchel Paige?" I said, "Yo." He was 70 some odd years old. I was 20, 21, 22.
Wow.
But he was a funny man. He wouldn't talk to reporters unless they gave him money. They'd say, "Hey, Satch, can we talk to you?" And he'd, put his fingers together like, turn over the money. And then when he used to come to the clubhouse, he was a ladies' man. He liked ladies. And he'd always have like 3 on one arm and 3 on another, and they'd walk him to the gate to get in to the ballpark to get dressed. He never came to practice, pregame practice. He says, it's.
Yeah, he's too good for that.
Oh yeah.
He's the greatest of all time pitcher, bro.
Oh yeah, he was great. He was probably one of the top Negro League ball players, and should have been up in the big leagues way before the actual time that he did come to the big leagues. But he was so funny, and we used to play a pepper game in front of the dugout, which you can't do that. If you're watching some games, you'll see a sign that'll say, "No pepper allowed." Well, that's because we used to play it, and we'd flip the ball back and forth. And if you missed the ball, then you owed everybody a Coke. And Satchel Paige came out and was going to play. Catfish Hunter was with me, Jim Nash, and myself, and there was someone else there too. But Satchel Paige came out, and he had a glove that had to look like the old Babe Ruth glove.
Right.
Okay? And I didn't play with Babe Ruth either. And he would come out and he'd feel the ball, and the first one would hit him in the shins, and then the next one hit him in the other shin, and the other one off the chest, and then all of a sudden he got loose, and he used to flip that ball around, and he always won.
Wow.
Yeah, but
even as an old man.
Funny. Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. He was loosey goosey.
All right. Well, thank you, Uncle Mike.
My
All right,
pleasure.
guys. Hope you learned a lot about Negro League baseball and the racism in the South. Thank you very much, Uncle Mike.
You're
Say
welcome.
goodbye to my kids.
Have a good one.